Ooh, a new Warframe. That's because update 32.3, Citrine's Last Wish, has gone live. And I'm just going to mention this in passing at the beginning of the video. We do have face tats for the Drifter, but more importantly, we also have Ember's voidshell that we can have a look at. And it does use her standard, her original helmet, which is the biggest kind of semi-problem with the void skins. You can't just put the void skin on every helmet that is available. So if you want to rock that, it means not using alternate helmets. Arcane helmets instantly thrown out the window because of these, but does look nice when there is textures added to it. And being Ember does come with basically a charcoal style voidshell skin pattern is what I would have called it, but it literally says voidshell skin. But this pattern can be used on any voidshell. It's not locked to her, it's just the only way to get it is to buy that. More importantly though, and I really don't want to go to the bundle for this, I mean technically that's the bundle, so wow, it's 325 just for her. Citrine, with a very, very creative use of, all I can really put this is abilities and passive. Her first ability that, well, Fractured Blast, none of these yet have videos for them, which is kind of sad, but her first ability basically shoots crystals and it inflicts bleed on enemies, and when they die, with the status effect on them, they have a chance of dropping health orbs. This is really important. It is her Helminth ability as well, because her passive is really interesting. I don't know why I'm reading from another screen for this, but never mind. Picking up a health orb, grants allies 5 health regeneration per second. Basically it puts an aura around her, and it has health regen for her as well. So a 25 health orb will give you an extra 25 health on top. Kind of like the fact that they've slightly changed this from what it says on their own website, where she will have a... Actually, it's literally written exactly the same as this. They've gotten rid of the words aura and added the up to 25 health from the regen. So with the first ability dropping more health orbs, her passive means regenerating more health. Probably for the best, since she only has 135 of it. Her second ability, Preserving Shell, grants herself and nearby allies a crystalline shell that gradually decays over time, but kills and assists increase the defensive ability of the shell. I know it says power, but whatever. Third ability deploys a gem that shoots prismatic beam. Yeah. The gem targets enemies that are being shot by other people. It says are taking weapon damage from her or her allies, and the beam inflicts heat, cold, toxin and electrical status effects. It's kind of semi-interesting, especially since when you go to the damage type, you can see them all, and it's about 500. Duration and power strength are going to be kind of a must for her. Her fourth ability, Crystallize, summons crystal fractures. The fractures rush forward, seeking enemies. Enemies touched by the fracture or paralyzed by crystalline growths hit the growths to deal crit damage. All in all, they have gone really far with this whole crystalline based frame here. That can be obtained from the marketplace. The new mission type, Mirror Defense. There's a trailer and they're on about lovers, and there's a different person inside of each shell, and you quite literally go from one part to another. That has me intrigued more than anything else right there. Or, if you want her, you can also go here and see Otak. As you can probably imagine by the fact there's so many people here, because Otak, somewhere in here, unearthed Citrine, and yeah, her parts can be obtained here using, yeah, that's the blue crystal and the red crystal from the defense mission, so you still have to do the defense mission to actually get a hold of these, but it's worth it. If you can't drop the parts that are supposed to also drop from that mission, you can actually come here and buy them. You can also get the parts for her melee weapon here. Same deal, you've got to trade those crystal fragments, and for her shotgun, they are also here, which is a nice touch on one hand, but also not. It means if you are having problems dropping one specific part while farming for the resource to buy them, you will be dropping the parts, so you kind of limit the use of this, but it means instead of spending 3 or 4 days grinding for that one part and not getting it, you should get enough of the crystal fragments to pick up that one part you're actually kind of looking for. There is also Rhino's Death Watch skin that people have been kind of hyped for since they announced it or showed it off in the dev stream. It basically turns Rhino into a rhino beetle, and there's been a few people on different live streams I've seen who've turned around and said they don't like bugs, so they're not going to pick this up. Well, to each their own. I'm just looking at this as different ways, like the little bits of details in the legs and the fact that yet again you can't zoom out so you can't see the feet. But if we turn him, you can kind of see the whole rhino beetle thing coming off that would be the shin. And the giveaway to Rhino Beetle would be the giant rhino horn. Her signature primary actually looks like it's going to be pretty decent because what they said still actually here. The projectile's duration increases when it hits an enemy. So fire it at first, shotgun, short range. Hit a few people with it as it goes and boom, longer range. And in the hands of Citrine, the projectile speed is increased, which means even better. Kind of wish the fall off was a little bit longer, but that's kind of expected with the way that it works. And the fire rate, well, it's not rubbish, but it's not great either. But her signature melee weapon, this is what I'm kind of looking forward to. They called it a two-handed scythe, but the heavy attack with this transforms it into something else. And all I'm going to say is it shoots like a shotgun. It literally says it in the description, which kind of ruined it there. It turns into I really want to say a gun sword, but it's more of a gun scythe, and the transformation does look pretty good on this. What we will quickly do is we will have a look at the mirror defense, because the blue shard gives blue crystal fragments, the red one gives red crystal fragments, and these two missions are kind of synced together. We'll just simplify this whole mission. Collecting the shards that appear everywhere is how you heal the pod. It didn't actually take any damage this whole mission, so can't really demonstrate that, but every 50 you collect will give you some of the shards, depending what map you are on, depends if they are the blue ones or the red ones. And probably best of all, it's not wave driven, it's time driven. Of course there is this amazing center part that does, it's just the fact they've got the worm in there, and it's like a void tunnel from one defense map to another, from one of the least liked defense maps to the best, most eagerly awaited returning defense map, was great. I did like that. The worm in there is a nice touch, but you can also, of course, drop the actual weapons, the new frame. They all come from this same mission, and yeah, it's not that long of a mission. You can leave every, basically 2 timers, because it's not waves, it's timers, but yeah, I kind of like this. Way more than I thought I would. They said it's harder, but it's just, it is, because the health doesn't regen on the crystal you are defending, but it's nice the way that it works, and the fact that it just kind of worked, and was only in there for 20 minutes, neither crystal took any damage. Just run around, collect the shards, every 50 you get, heal the shard, heal the crystal, give it shields if it's at full health, make it harder to take down, so take a good frost and you can have a lot of fun on this mission. quite a lot of fun. It was nice seeing Exini return. I'm just now realising something. I haven't done the Archon hunt this week, and it's Wednesday. I would have completely forgot about that. I know this isn't the Archon hunt. This is kind of an oopsie on my behalf on that one, but you will notice this still says the same thing as it always says. The Tau Forged has a 20% chance of dropping. Well, this is going to get overcomplicated fairly quickly. And I have mentioned this before, but it's not starting now. It starts when it resets on Monday, February the 20th at midnight, 7 PM ET. Which technically 7 PM ET would be Sunday the 19th. And that's where the naming problem comes from my reset videos, which is why I go with pretty much exactly the same thing Digital Extreme do. Monday the 20th. Anyway, it will start then, and what it means is the 20% increase. If you don't get it 1 week, the next week will in fact still be 20%. But the next time that that particular Archon returns, as an example, Amar, next time Amar turns up, that 20% there will read 40%. And then if it doesn't drop there, the next time Amar turns up, 3 weeks later, it will be 60%. But when a different Archon turns up, like Nira, it will be 20%. It is Archon specific to the 20% bonus that comes from that particular Archon. So when it swaps to a different Archon, it will go to whatever percentage theirs has, which means you're pretty much guaranteed to finally get a hold of these shards, but if you are really unlucky, it might take you 13 weeks before they actually start to drop. But with a 40% chance, it's an increase of the chance every single time that particular Archon turns up. Again, best way I can turn around and say this, it's Archon specific up to 100%, rather than it being weekly specific. Kind of a long-winded way of putting it, but that means if you want a blue one and you don't get one, you don't get a yellow one the next time. Sorry. Amber and Azura and Crimson. Why you couldn't just go with red, orange and blue? But since we're here and somebody will mention it, because I don't try to cover everything in these, there is new dojo rooms and Grenier Galleon style decorations. The Grenier rooms are from the Galleon, the decorations are kind of similar. Then there is of course the cold effect changes. The cold damage has traditionally been one of the least used status effects. I do believe that's Frost sitting there in the background, but never mind, we'll just jump back to this. Yeah, this is true, so they've kind of increased the base slow from 25% to 50, it halves the enemy speed, and the max stacks reduced from 10 to 8. That's because they're now going to be slower. It's not increasing the damage, it's increasing how slow the enemies get to it. But at the same time, it doesn't say whether this is against the enemies or against you. Meaning the final result will be a max slow of 70 to 85%. Because obviously if it was 10, it would be 100% slow. That would mean you would come to a complete stop. Frost has the ability to do this anyway, so I don't know why this would be a thing, but they mean for putting cold on weapons, because it's much easier to add toxin to it and make it viral, maybe? There is also a change to the way platinum is displayed in your inventory. When you hover over it, it will literally turn around and now tell you what your personal platinum is. Personal platinum, of course, is platinum that has been added in giveaways or from codes. Because even in their release notes, it turns around and says the same thing. Personal platinum can be won through the giveaways and cannot be used for trading or gifting, but neither can platinum added by codes. So, yeah. An error message when attempting to gift them, yeah, that will probably still be there. There's a lot of... I'm just going to put it as other little things that they've kind of added as well. UI changes, cross-platform play and fixes. No, there is no news on saves. They have mentioned that they are working on it, and just like the actual cross-platform play, they will probably just throw it up one day. This would be the perfect opportunity for them to turn around and say it's coming for the 10-year anniversary of Warframe. Hopefully in the next few weeks, since that's supposed to be next month. Optimizations for optimized launcher download speeds for slower PCs. Slower PCs, what's that got to do with the download speeds over the internet? Never mind. They've optimized that. And a ton of, I mean a ton of fixes. Yeah, all the way down to the bottom. Hopefully they will have a lot of bugs that are fixed, but the fact you've now got to come in here to find the actual update news is also kind of weird. It was better when it was in the forums, but we're not going to criticise this any more than we need to. We're going to go start playing some Mirror Defense and get some shards to do some... Oops, I said shards. Get some crystal fragments to do lots of other stuff, and the 50-second Warframe is live. Citrine, get her in game now, or don't, completely up to you. But with that, we'll leave this off here. I'm also cutting the head off of the image. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time.